Welcome back to Old Charles. You rummage through your pocket change, you get a quarter back as part of your change, and you barely give it a second thought. It's just a quarter. But what if I told you that a coin from a specific, seemingly ordinary year, 1965, has a story that could turn your pocket change into a small fortune? And I'm not talking about a few extra bucks, I'm talking about coins that have sold for over $7,000. This is worth 25 cents. But this holds up a high-quality photo or a very shiny, uncirculated 1965 quarter on the screen, and this holds up a photo of a rare error coin, could be worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery, the history, and the shocking value of the 1965 United States quarter. Stick around, because you're going to want to check your coin jars after this. To understand why the 1965 quarter is so fascinating, we have to go back in time. For decades, our dimes, quarters, and half dollars were made of 90% silver. That meant the metal in the coin itself had significant intrinsic value. But in the early 1960s, a perfect storm was brewing. The price of silver was rising, and the demand for coins was skyrocketing. People started to hoard silver coins, melting them down for their bullion value. The U.S. Mint was facing a massive coin shortage. The government had to act. In 1964, the Coinage Act was passed, authorizing a fundamental change. The Mint would remove silver from our dimes and quarters and switch to a new, layered composition, a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of a copper-nickel alloy. This change officially started in 1965. And this is the single most important fact about the 1965 quarter: they were not supposed to contain any silver. The Mint was adamant. All 1965 dated quarters were to be made with the new copper-nickel clad composition. This was the year the silver era truly ended for the quarter. But, as with many things involving millions and millions of coins, mistakes happened. Now, take a look at the back of your 1965 quarter. Right below the eagle, next to the words, United States of America. See anything? No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. That's because in 1965, to discourage collecting and hoarding further, the U.S. Mint removed the mint marks from all coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. So, every single 1965 quarter you find was minted at either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint, but you can't tell which is which. So, let's talk about the value of the standard 1965 copper-nickel quarter. The vast, and I mean vast, majority of them are just worth their face value of 25 cents. If you have a worn, circulated coin with scratches and no luster, it's a spender. But, condition is everything in numismatics. If you have a 1965 quarter that was saved in brilliant, uncirculated condition, maybe it came from a brand new roll from the bank, then it has a small premium. And if you have a true gem, a coin with full original luster, no contact marks, and fantastic eye appeal, graded by a service like PCGS or NGC as MS-66 or higher, the value can jump. So, even a standard coin in top-tier condition can be worth over 200 times its face value. But that's just the warm-up act. Side-by-side comparison of the edge of a silver coin, solid silver, and a clad coin, brown copper line visible. Sound of a silver coin, pinging, versus a clad coin, clunking. Here's what you've been waiting for. The legend. The 1965 silver quarter. Remember how I said no 1965 quarters were supposed to be silver? Well, it's believed that a few silver planchets, the blank discs that become coins, from 1964 were left in the hoppers and feeding systems of the minting presses. When the new copper-nickel planchets were fed in, a few of these old silver ones got mixed in and were struck with the 1965 date. Finding one of these is the numismatic equivalent of winning the lottery. They are exceptionally rare. How can you tell? The easiest way is the edge. A regular 1965 quarter has a distinct brown copper stripe in the middle. A silver 1965 quarter will have a solid, silver-colored edge. You can also learn the ping test, but the edge is the dead giveaway. So, what is a genuine 1965 silver quarter worth? If you have one, and it's certified by PCGS or NGC, you are looking at a massive payday. Yes, you heard that right. A single quarter from 1965, if it's one of these accidental silver strikes, can be worth more than some people's cars. But wait, there's more. The 1965 quarters were produced in the billions, over 1.8 billion to be semi-exact. With that kind of volume, and with the mint transitioning to new compositions and processes, errors were bound to happen. And error coins are a huge part of the hobby. Let's look at the most valuable types of errors for the 1965 quarter. Look for clear doubling in the motto, "In God We Trust," and the date. A strong doubled die can be worth hundreds of dollars, even in circulated condition. A gem uncirculated one can fetch over $1,000. The coin wasn't sitting in the collar correctly when it was struck. The more off-center it is, the more valuable it becomes. A 10% off-center might be worth $50, but a 50% off-center could be worth $200 or more. This happens when the metal strip that planchets are punched from overlaps a previous punch, creating a curved clip. A nice, clear clipped planchet error can add $20 to $100 to the value. The coin was struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread out. These are very cool and can be worth $50 to $150. So, you're pumped, you're ready to go hunt. Here's your step-by-step guide to examining any 1965 quarter you find. This is your first and most important step. Look for that copper stripe. If it's not there, and the edge is solid silver, stop. You might have something incredible. Handle it by the edge and put it in a protective holder. Get a cheap jeweler's loupe or use the macro mode on your phone's camera. Look for any doubling, especially on the date and the motto. Look for any unusual bumps, blobs, or distortions. Look at the entire coin. Is it struck off-center? Is there a big chunk missing from the edge? Does it look weirdly spread out? Compare it to a normal quarter you know is standard. A standard copper-nickel 1965 quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. A silver one would weigh 6.25 grams. This is a definitive test, but the edge check is usually sufficient. So, there you have it. The humble 1965 quarter is a coin of legend and opportunity. From a common 25-cent piece to a rare error worth a few $100, all the way up to the mythical silver quarter worth thousands. It's a perfect reminder that history and value are literally hiding in our everyday lives. So next time you get a quarter in your change, take a half-second to look at the date. Check that edge. You never know what you might find. The United States quarter dollar, a ubiquitous piece of American currency, has a rich history that mirrors the nation's own evolution. Its journey spans over 230 years, encompassing changes in composition, design, purpose, and symbolism. Introduced a more mature Liberty wearing a cap, with a revised eagle on the reverse. This design saw the introduction of reeded edges to prevent clipping, shaving precious metal from the coin's edge, a design that lasted for over 50 years, by Christian Gobrecht. It featured Liberty seated on a rock, holding a shield and a pole with a Liberty cap. This design underwent several minor modifications, including the addition of, "In God We Trust," on the reverse in 1866, following increased religious sentiment during the Civil War, named for its designer, Chief Engraver Charles. Coin featured a head of Liberty facing right, wearing a Phrygian cap. It was part of a uniform design change for the dime, quarter, and half-dollar. By Herman A. McNeil, it depicted Liberty standing in a gateway, holding a shield and an olive branch. The reverse featured a flying eagle. The initial 1916 and early 1917 design famously exposed one of Liberty's breasts. Public outcry led to the addition of chain mail armor in 1917. The 1916 Standing Liberty Quarter is exceptionally rare and valuable, with only 52,000 minted. The Washington Quarter was born out of a national celebration, the origin *** in 1932, to mark the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the Treasury Department held a design competition. Sculptor John Flanagan design was selected, original design, 1932 to 1998, obverse **** a left-facing portrait of George Washington, **** reverse **** a stylized heraldic eagle, the 1964 to 1965 transition, the end of silver ****. This was the most pivotal moment in the quarter's modern history. The crisis ****. By the early 1960s, the price of silver had risen so high that the intrinsic metal value of silver coins began to exceed their face value. This led to widespread hoarding and melting, creating a national coin shortage. The Coinage Act of 1965 ***. This act removed silver from dimes and quarters. The new quarter was made of a clad composition, a pure copper core, clad between two layers of a copper-nickel alloy. This is the composition still used today. To discourage collecting and further hoarding, the mint also removed mint marks from all coins, 1965 to 1967. After 66 years with a static design, the quarter entered a new era as a vehicle for national representation and education, the 50-state quarters program. 1999 to 2008 ***. This wildly popular program issued 5 new quarters each year for 10 years, each featuring a design representing one of the 50 states. It sparked a